Hello. Secret lunch is the best lunch, I agree. Welcome in. Nice to see you, Thurman. Yeah, for once I had a little bit of time to stream at lunch, so I figured why not? Why not jump on? And play a little bit more Oracle of Seasons since we're getting pretty far into it now. And I did just realise when I paused here that I don't have a shield, so we're actually gonna do a little bit of chores before we go into the next dungeon, or start heading into the next dungeon. I don't know if there's a bit that we have to do for it. Get a shield. Which, knowing my luck, will just get eaten by a like instantly anyway. Both lurking because I'm in the office, but excited for this. Very fun memories. Yeah, no worries, man. It's been really fun to replay this game. I haven't played it since I was a child, and it holds up perfectly. Like, this game is still fantastic. Yeah, my memories of it. That's the thing is, as I've been playing through it, I have been kind of realizing that there's just a ton of it I don't remember. There's bits of it that I remember like perfectly, and I'm like, oh yeah, this bit. But a lot of it, I'm just like, I don't know what this is. I don't remember doing any of this. And I finished this game multiple times as a kid. Oh my god. Alright, there's like puzzles to get even into this dungeon, right? Can't do shit with these guys. Wait, the phone's like legs. Alright, there's nothing under these. I think we burnt them down last stream. Yeah. On a night. Playing our sword shoots lasers now. Which is always good. How's this thing? Can we move it? Nope. Move these. Maybe vines will grow up in summer? It's the wrong thing. I think all of the kind of all of the stuff like building into this area is like, can we bomb it? Kind of using all the season powers now that we have all four of them. Can we go into these holes? No. So spring takes us up there, but we can't do anything up there. Autumn, we can get down there. I think we went down here last time. Oh yeah, there was just a chest here. I don't remember what was in it. Maybe it would have given us a good hint if we did remember. Nothing's changed. Maybe winter? Because winter snow piles up sometimes and it'll give you different routes places. There's a shovel. Oh, there we go. That makes sense. Yeah, this whole section seems like very much, hey, you just got the ability to do all of the seasons, so use them. And so we're gonna. This guy takes my money. Thank you for paying to fix my door. God. Every goddamn time. I'm broke. He took all of my money. Asshole. I mean, I did burn down the door of his house. It is kind of fair. Man. Maybe the door of his house shouldn't be a tree. I don't know why. I thought I could bomb stuff here, but it just looked like a little weird balcony that there's nothing on. Proto. Oh, this foolish boy. If you save then, the world will be filled with destruction, sorrow and despair. A great sacrifice will be offered, and the evil king revived. Then people will know true pain as darkness falls across the lands. Hee ho ho ho. That seems fine. Alright, Ancient Ruins time. Don't know who the weird mage person was, but... Go this way. These guys. These guys. Snakes. Snakes and mummies. That's Ancient Ruin. That door does open. There must be something here that opens it. We have a ton of bombs. So I assume if the bombs open. Oh, those. There's no obvious bit in the wall, right? Oh. The first time that it has not been an obvious gap in the wall. Usually the game has signposted more than that. Oh, crazy though. This will more than pay back for... Actually, no, it's not gonna. Because this will more than pay back for the amount that that guy took off us, but nope, it doesn't. You get lost. Alright, I don't think there's anything else in here. I mean, there's obviously something else in here, but maybe that door opens from the other side. Do all three of these and get boomerang, because these will be the jumping ones. Okay, we didn't get F if we're doing that. These move. Doesn't look like it. I think we could probably fall down from the floor above or something. Usually that's what kind of markings on the floor like that are for. Those magnet balls. I guess we can do that. Let's just open the next door, right? We need a key. Might as well do it just in case. hopefully stays open. Oh, it's one of these. The key door. Oh god, oh god. Give me the feather. Can we smash these crystals? Yes. Nope, wrong thing. So much this game is switching between items. I think I can just take these guys out with the sword, but it takes longer. Yeah, boomerang works well. Door there. There's a chest here. 5 rubies. Oh, this is this room. Okay, so that's where that door is. But now the spinning thing's reversed. We should be able to go to the room to the next direction. Oh, that door does stay open. That's good. Then we can go left instead. Oh, right. I guess Boomerang is like secretly like the best goddamn weapon in this game. There. Snakes. That must be... That takes us back to that room from before. Hey, dungeon map. Yeah. Well, that... this is a very vertical dungeon. Which makes sense, it looks like a tower from that side. A couple of rubies. I think you can even kill these ones. Up, 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 up. Just keep going. Don't stop. Oh no. Leave me alone. Let's get out of this room and never come back. I wonder if we get Boomerang upgrade in this. Boomerang does say L1, so it might be the L2 version. If we get a Boomerang that we can like throw around corners. Oh no, we have to go back into that room. It's backwards. Back we go. So we can go up, right? Jumping time. As well as balls, we can move up here. Then what? Where do we have to get it? Oh jeez, all the way over there? Okay. An actual magnet puzzle. Apologies as always for the worst sound in the Zelda game. Jump. I mean, that works too, I guess. Oh, no, no. Okay, thank God. You get back in the hole. Back where you belong. Key. So we can use it. I remember we seeing keyholes. We've seen at least two, I think. We saw a door and we saw the block. The block seems kind of useless except there's a shortcut, right? Although I guess we could use this to actually, yeah, the block would be pretty good. If we do this, then go and unlock that block, and get in here, and go back around again. I like some health as well. I think we do have a potion though. So if we die, we'll at least revive. Because, as we learned, jeez, in one of the last streams, the potion is basically the equivalent of fairies in this game. Wait. Did I go too far? What about this way? Because now this should take us clockwise. Oh my god. Okay, potion used. Was fine. Not ideal. I forget, are these the ones the boomerang work on? I'll need to try and remember that. There's there. Let's get up this tower. That'll take us down to the floor below. There's those kind of like textured versions of holes basically do that. Yeah. Good thing I got my shield. Yeah, another key. Death in here. I guess we just need to come back to from there. Well, that works, I guess. We can just use the shield. Not ideal, but easier than try jumping. Where do I want to go? It's back down this way. I'm pretty sure we saw a locked door somewhere. Oh, we need to kill them. Is there another snake we missed? Damn it, this one's hiding out up here. These guys. So that's the entrance. I don't see any locked doors. That just takes us back where we went. Let's go round again. So that we can go right. There's gonna be a lot of this. Oh wait, I went the wrong way. This is a... It's just the stairs up, right? I'll double check. This was just where we got that key before. So we're going over there to the left. I don't think there's anything interesting in there. Oh, this was the puzzle we can't do yet. Or does it seem like we can't do it? Because it's hitting something that's like around a corner. There's nothing magnetic in there that I could see. Do we want to go back this way? Look around this way. These. Movement speed's too slow for me fucking up. So then we go this way again. See if there's anywhere we can use a key in here. Yes, there we go. I knew we'd saw a door somewhere.
Wait a minute! That wasn't too sweet! Everything is evil!
Oh, thank you for the raid. Yeah, more Oracle of Seasons. Hold on, do the... What were you playing? Were you playing Waltz and Gromit? How is that game? I remember playing that game a while ago. Back when I used to play all the Telltale stuff. Back when Telltale existed. Viral. It's going insane. Like you drowned 2 dogs down the sewage. Okay, great. We can go with the Oracle, yes. Is that one that's like a proper point and click, or is it like the Walking Dead style walk around and do stuff? Oh jeez, we'll fuck this. We'll fuck this. Oh no, we made it. I remember enjoying Telltale games up until kind of both. There was that kind of transition period between them, I guess. I really enjoyed Telltale games up until everything became like that Walking Dead style. I wasn't super into that. I liked like the Sam and Max games, and I played the Waltz and Gromit once, but I don't remember them that much. The Strong Bad game I remember being really good. Imagine Walking Dead with more point and click stuff and no dialogue options. Yeah, I think there was a couple they did around then. And they did like a Game of Thrones one as well that was kind of like that. Yeah, the Batman stuff they did was crazy, like surprisingly. A really interesting take on a lot of the Batman characters in a weird way. Oh god, it was a trap. Can we just not even fuck these guys? Oh, even these ones. Alright, let's get out of here. Screw those guys. I remember their Monkey Island stuff being fun. Like, not as good as the originals, but, you know, fun. It's, doesn't seem to be a lot in this room. Right. On the wall? Usually it's somewhere in the middle. Doesn't seem like it. guess we just go around the long way. I used to really like tail tokens. Get my shield out. Any of these move? We meant to get a key. Or whatever dropped here. I assume it's key. Oh, it's not. It's telling us where to put the trampoline. Just jump over it entirely. Yeah, I was way more interested in their games when they were doing like the point and click stuff, like the old 7 Max games, which have some elements that have aged poorly, which is unfortunate. Hey, buddy. That's probably got somewhere we can go. I guess we should explore this way first. I'm gonna open this chest and get like 1 ruby and then all these enemies are gonna attack me. Oh no, shit. So we can change the direction that we throw boomerangs now. Okay, now all the enemies are going to attack me. I was right about that bit. No way out of here until we kill them as well. We need to use a boomerang? Okay. Boomerang does damage. We can throw diagonally now. This boomerang's kind of great actually. I was literally just saying the boomerang is secretly like the best weapon in this game. And they gave me a better boomerang. Rewarded for my faith in the boomerang. Back here, which is good because we can go use this on up here. The boomerang kill these things? No, that'd be too good. Even the boomerang has to have some limitations. Let's equip. Now we can do this. And take these ones. Okay, yeah, being able to like arc the boomerang is kind of great. Have we been here? No, we've not. This dungeon, oh Jesus, why are they moving so fast? What the fuck? Just keep jumping and run over. Ah, good, now there's snakes. That made everything better. What the fuck is this room? Who designed this? Who, when they were building this temple, were like, we really need the giant, like, incredibly fast fucking spinning room with snakes that drop down into it. Why would anyone put that in anywhere? Okay, trampoline there. Oh Jesus, oh Jesus. Well, I could have just used the shield there. I didn't. It's very important architecture. That's a load-bearing snake room. You literally can't build a tower this high without that. Not very well known fact. Any skyscraper you've ever been in, there's one of those rooms in there somewhere. Oh, these guys don't give a shit about them, right? We can drop down there. At least we need to drop down there. Oh, let's go down this hole. Get back up that way. Come on. Oh, I was trying to knock you into holes. Oh, I need slingshot. I'm gonna put the feather on just in case as well. Maybe a jump at the end of this. There wasn't, but you know, they're safe and sorry. Our croissant. Ah, that was a fake. It was a trap. I think so. These things are about to go bad. This doesn't move. Oh, the walls are closing in. Oh god. Oh god. I don't know how we made that. Boss kill already. It's kind of mad. Yeah, like it was barely a thing. Oh, hold on a second. Yeah, like it was not even a full square. That's yeah, good gamer moment. I feel like good gamer wouldn't have like stood around for a few seconds at the start though. It would have made it through way easier. How do you open this door? We've been through this door before, right? Oh no, we haven't. This is a different identical room. Here we go. This dungeon has fun things like that, but a lot of this dungeon is also just these big, empty rooms. It's kind of a bit dull compared to the like, pretty solid dungeon design we've had up till now. Not a good gamer moment, just a good gamer moment. It's fine. There's a bad gamer moment where I just fucking jumped off there because I wasn't paying attention. Oh, let's go all the way back up there. Dungeon went all out on closing walls. Yeah, I mean... it's cool. Let's go back down this way. This way. Don't care about you guys, because I know I just need to do this. Get slingshot, even though the door might still be open. Come on. Come on. Oh, it is still open. Right, we have to do it again, so let's see if we do it better or worse this time. Oh god, oh god, oh god. It's kind of a cool thing in that it's a game that uses You know, oh wait, do we just not have to? Oh, we do, because the stairs are there. Never mind, I was like, did we just do this wrong? But no, we can go back here. It's kind of a cool thing where obviously like this game looks quite grid-based. And you know, in older Zelda games it would have been more stuck to that grid, because obviously you've got these big kind of square things and everything. But you have bits like that to show that, hey, actually, we have slightly more movement. We can do things in half of the squares that we usually do. Right, this time, I'm not going to jump off the goddamn thing. I'm going to go open this chest and hopefully get a key. And then jump back up there. Eight-dimensional is either ground-breaking or weird. Oh hell yeah, bots. I think we should, you know, make them a mod. Give me a sec, how? You can delete that, right? Okay. Anyway. Bots aside. I think we need to move this. Oh no, wait, we just did this. Yeah. I mean, that's how it goes, eh? There was a door. Where was the key door that we saw before? Where should we pass it? Near here? Stop shooting me with arrows, please. Big thing to keep an eye out for too is if someone follows you before they chat and greet you in a really friendly way because they're just about to sell you on their art. Yeah. Yeah. That's how it goes, eh? Going this way again. I'm trying to remember, we passed the door that needed the key. But I've already forgotten where it was. Is the fairy respawned in here? What has? We're gonna do this again, I guess. But this is not actually the right way. We're just going in circles. Kill these guys again. We're going in circles because I half remember seeing a locked door somewhere and I can't remember which room it was. But it was during this whole process. It wasn't here, was it? It wasn't here. Okay, so that wasn't all for nothing. Thank God. I wasn't going crazy. As it turns out, if I do that run multiple times, I can get better at it. I'm Vire, Onyx's loyal henchman. I heard someone was trying to stop Onyx, but it's just some kid. Fine, I can handle you. Let's see if this boomerang does it. I think it's him. Doesn't look like it. Ouch, pissy kid, take this. I think it was the end with sword. I don't think this is a fancy use the items in a fun way thing. It's just a ability. That's it. I'm serious. I like this guy. Got some personality. Come on. The number of hits this guy's taken though. Imagine if we'd done this without upgrading sword last episode. Stream. Fine, goodbye. Ouch. I paid for my overconfidence, but I'll report this to Onyx. See you, buddy. This room looks good. That's it. Kicked his ass. Oh my god, that's not the button the jump is on. Just sitting eating the speedy seeds. Big empty room with 2 buttons. Alright, do I go left or right? Left or right? I'm telling this easy. Is it grass? Left or right? Left. First answer's left, so we're going left. Thanks a lot, Mick. Thanks a lot. I guess right? Right is always right, as it turns out. That's what those Conservative Party leaflets that I wrote say. To be fair, I thought Crash would have said right after a comment. Yeah, you can always trust Crash to go right. The well-known thing about Crash. Always favouring the right. Well-known fact. Alright, I'm not gonna try to kill these stupid hands because they just keep respawning. One of those. Oh, do we get to kill these guys with it? Stop it. Crushed them. I think they should bring these magnet boss back, like in another Zelda game. They're so fun. I'm also slightly worried that they might also be in Oracle of Ages, and Oracle of Ages is like, if I remember correctly, quite heavily puzzle focused, so we might have to do some nonsense with them. Oh jeez, oh jeez. Right, I hit the back one. Well, that didn't work. Easy. Wait, I assume that's what this opened, right? Yeah. Is it? Okay. We've got another 10 minutes. I do need to do some work today. Do these move? Does one move? This is the one I thought would move. Now what? Oh, I know. There was not a hole. But this far across? Aha. That's a good wee puzzle. Don't know what that did, but... Well, that's the boss room. Let's see, let's go back this way. Oh no, there's stairs now. Alright, boss time. We have almost full, or we have full health. 171 rubies, which is not going to make any difference. But I can do this. Wait, can I just repeat the last one? Alright. You have 30 seconds to predict with channel points whether I'll beat this boss first time. Who has faith in me? I don't remember what this boss is. There, seconds may not be long enough. Alright. We have 100% on yes. Everyone thinks I'm gonna do it. Everyone has faith. Let's go for it. Oh, that's a boss. Okay, the boomerang doesn't seem to do anything. Okay, hitting it with a sword, not the way to go. Can we hit it with the slingshot? Not that one, at least. I would think the boomerang would be what we want. Can we shield these things? Nope. Can we hit them back? Nope, it's not a Gammon situation. Nothing to gain, nothing to lose. Chat unanimously green, that's it. No one's gonna win anything but can lose everything. Well, I assume not everything. I assume we can actually hit like the heads of this, but not the weird body. I'm a little stumped. This isn't doing anything. Usually these things, you have to use the item you get. We got the boomerang. Oh, I see. We need to just hit the heads as they're open. Right, I'm probably gonna fail use this time, but now we know how to do it. This was a trial run. Okay, we got one of them. Oh god. The good thing is the attacks aren't too hard to dodge on this stage, but I can assume once I've taken down either more of its heads or all of its heads, that's going to change. Right, 2 down. Ugh. Ugh. Alright, one more. Then we get to the nice gooey inside. Oh my god. I died. Yeah, it got real fast there. Alright, but we know what to do this time. Apologies, you've all lost your channel points. The lesson here is never have faith. You can just walk through that room. So the lesson here is never believe in anyone, ever. Wait, what? Right was wrong this time. This is randomized? What? This is randomized every time? That's bizarre. Alright, get rid of these guys. No. God damn it. Hey, Cash Beans, how's it going? Right, we're gonna beat this boss and then I'm gonna go back to work and do actual work. Is it right this time? So weird that this is randomized. Right, you fuckers. No, 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 no. God, I hate these stupid hands so much. Yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks, Cashy. How are you? I feel like I'm having a harder time getting back to this boss than I'm going to actually have fighting it. I hate these hands so much. They won't push buttons the right way. Screw these guys, I'm just going fast. I'm going fast. Right, we need to kill these guys. I bet there's like some faster route and we don't need to redo all this. Come on. You guys stop doing that. That's not nice. Done. They won't push buttons the right way is making me, yeah. Is me playing any fighting game other than Tekken? That's me playing Tekken. Guilty Gear is like, I can do combos and stuff, and Tekken it's like, this game has all blocking, why am I getting hit? What am I doing? What do you mean this move hits mid? What does that even mean? Right, so hopefully the stairs are still there. Nope, they are not. Oh no, there. Thank God for that. So, we have like no health, but we should be fine. That's fair. I bought mash my combo, so I only move on to the next input when I see it happen, which doesn't work good in a game with Guilty Gear pacing. Yeah, true. Decent for Street Fighter though. Also kind of depends what... Wait, did we just smash that pot with our sword? Can our sword do that now? That's crazy. It depends on the Guilty Gear. Strive, yeah. None of the characters have links in that game, they're all combos. If you're like waiting for attacks to come out, like... That's how Slayer works. Come on. Hit any of their goddamn notes. There we go. Boss is kind of a pain in the ass. Like, the difficulty with it is just the execution because you are trying to dodge these. The attacks aren't hard to dodge, but dodging them while also throwing the boomerang is kind of... Because you're using the D-pad to move the boomerang. Look at that, we got that one on the way back. It's a real boomerang. Come on, open this one. That one at least. This is so much health though. I think we've weakened all of them though, which will be good when it speeds up. Come on. Open the right one again. Oh, the left one, sorry. I know my right and left. Oh my god. This isn't going great. Not gonna lie. Maybe... this'll help? I don't know if that actually helped. Okay. Come on. No, don't open the back one. We keep jumping. This is my new plan. If I jump so the sand doesn't take it. It would help if I had the boomerang equipped though. Wasn't it that? Maybe I unequipped the wrong thing. Okay, now what? No, this guy's just going nuts. Let's just keep boomeranging him. We have to have more punch. Oh my god. Oh my god. Alright, one more try, and then I do need to go back to work. We almost had him. He just starts moving so fast at that last one. Let's see. Catch up with chat. The button mashing, the fact you can hear my mashing on stream makes it worse. That's the I love fighting games where you can, like streams where you can hear people mashing. This is a run. It was not. You were wrong, Mick. Sorry. Looks like chip challenge. Yeah, I can see that. Boss music's very good. Yep, it is very good. Yeah, chips challenge, not chip challenge, but I can understand that. Alright, let's use these again. Work these hands. I'm not about catching these hands. I just realized actually this. So I was thinking about that boss that we had to use the spiky ball to do that, but that ball's not spiky, so I can actually just literally just grab it and hit him with it. Easier than I was making it. Boomerang this. This is like perfect training for what we have to do for the boss, and I'm just doing that. There we go. It's free on Steam. I didn't know that. Oh man, right. I think we can smash the. Yeah, look, we can just smash lots of our sword now. Like, you know, every other Zelda game. But we couldn't do that before. That's kind of cool. Right, we don't need the sword in here. The jump seemed like it was okay. Right, this time. We're off to a not great start. Not terrible start, but, you know, not great start. Nope, just... that one. Jumping seems like the way to go. One head down. Couldn't even see that one, and I knew it was open. Come on, come on, come on. Take back what I said about this boss isn't actually that hard. The pain in the ass. Going the wrong direction. Alright, we're almost there. Okay. Doesn't he hit this asshole? Stop! He looks like one of those like giant gummy bears, but like missing his arms. God damn it! I got stuck in the sand. Right. What time is it? Alright, I can do one quick. Very quick. This is gonna be it. This is the run. Maybe not this time, but this time. Next time is the run. Those were all just training runs. Oh god, this time I'm going to get killed by bats before I can get there. This one's also legitimately the last one because I do need to get back to work. Stop dropping snakes. This is the worst luck we've had in this room so far. Yeah, we're collecting data. Nope. Nope. Magnet. Want you to... Dead. We killed this guy. Should have clicked the boomerang at the same time. Okay, we need to kill both these guys this time, but that's fine. The issue with the snakes is that those two buttons in that room are randomized. So sometimes the right one drops snakes and sometimes it doesn't. I don't know, I've never seen the left one actually open the thing though. Like the left one I don't think has ever made the stairs show up, but the right one has made snakes show up, which seems bizarre. Right, we have full health. We've got jumping, we've got boomerangs. Let's go. Right, good start. We hit both those at the same time. We got 2 hits on that one. One down already. Yeah, the issue is you can't move when you throw the boomerang. So I really need to only throw the boomerang while I know I'm not going to get hit by a fireball. Open the left map, god damn it. It's the one I can hit. See, as I instantly miss. Come on. Bam. One left. All right. Come on. Oh, now I need my sword. Damn it. Did it? We did it! This was the run. We did it. Now we have the blowing wind, an essence of nature. Sweet fruit is born when pollen is carried by the blowing wind. You were learning about nature. I mean, yes, you did call it, but also people were calling it every time, so... But you know what, I'll give it to you. Yeah, I agree, it's so annoying the way it moves. That's an annoying boss. Because it isn't... The core thing isn't that difficult, but they really made the room a combination of things that are annoying. Because you can't move while you're throwing the boomerang, but there's sand in there moving you around. And so you're just getting like kind of moved around, and so like that last phase is actually pretty easy because you just have to hit him with a boomerang and then he stops and you just keep spamming the boomerang. But I kept getting moved by the sand and fucking it up. Which is just a skill issue. But we did it. That's the important thing. Get there, find a way across the sea. Alright, we have to get across the ocean next. Which I don't know how to do. So, we're gonna teleport back to town, and then we'll save it there. I don't like sand, it's coarse and rough and irritating, it gets everywhere. It's true, Anakin. Alright, let's quickly do this then. Give me these. These are things about sand that the Jedi... She has a Hoover this time. You know the drill, fastest one wins. He's upgraded from a broom to a Hoover. I'll remember this. Right, I think we have rings that we can get praised. Oh my, you're amazing. You've slain 1,000 monsters. Take this ring. Alright. Praise some rings. Oh, that is the only ring we have. Oh well. Call this the Slayer's ring. Finally, I love Slayer. He's my favourite Guilty Gear character. 1,000 be slain. That's what that ring is. It doesn't do anything. It just says that I've slain a bunch of monsters. Thanks. Thanks, Bazu. Right, let's save. That went longer than I thought it would. We only have 2 dungeons left? Oh my god, go to the thing. 1, 2. 2 dungeons left. Yeah, no Slayer and Strive yet. I'm hoping that we get him in Season 3, but he is so big I could see it be a Season 4 thing. If we get a Season 4. I'd be surprised if we didn't. That game seems to just be getting bigger and bigger. Let me move to this. Oh god. It just came out. What's going on? Yeah, I agree. It's crazy that we're on season 3. Like yeah, it feels like I just started playing Strive, and actually no, I've been playing it relatively consistently for years now, which is crazy. But yeah, thank you for watching. I need to get back to work because I have work to do, as it turns out. Is there anyone else online? Look. I don't think there's anyone else online. Peter Strive going, this is the one, I'll learn to play 2D fighting over this, and then we're on season 3. Yeah, well, I did that as well, but I like actually did stick with it. It's the only fighting game I've really stuck with. I've been playing a bunch of Street Fighter though. Thank you, Mick. Yeah, it was fun. That boss was frustrating, but we got there. Everyone take care. Yeah, quiet one today. Seems like a bunch of people can't stream, unfortunately, which is a shame. In that case, I will just let you all go back to whatever you were doing outside of this. Enjoy the rest of your day. And I will see you all whenever I next see you all. Goodbye. Oh, offline read mech. I can do that. I don't know if you can. I don't know if my microphone picking up, but there's like someone just blasting their horn outside. Offline read. Alright, you're all going over here. Thank you all for joining. Go hang out in this offline channel for a while. It lets me do it. Alright, see y'all.